It's only thoughts that make you unhappy, because many people in your situation would be ultra happy. If you take a woman from Uganda in your position, she would be like, I live in a castle, I have food on my plate, I have a soft bed, I'm in heaven. So it's not the situation that makes you unhappy, because people in the exact situation that you are would be extremely happy, and you are extremely unhappy.
That is so profound. And it's really almost life-changing. I think that in itself, just thinking about your thoughts can make the difference on how you feel throughout the day and whether you're happy or unhappy. And I would think that most people, if they had the choice, would rather be happy. So welcome back to the Professional Rule Breaker Show. And I am your host, Kathy Walterhouse. And I have the pleasure of introducing part 2 of my interview with my friend, Barbara Vercruysse. So if you haven't listened to part 1, you might want to pause and go back and listen to part 1, which was the last week, the week before, so you can just catch all of her wisdom and all of her insight. And just as a reminder, Barbara, not only is she just an amazing human being, she is also a global kindness advocate, and she reaches millions of people every week with her kindness talks across all different social media platforms. And she has a brand new book that is coming out that we're going to be talking about in part 2. And it is called The Path to Powerful Kindness. So here we go into part 2 of the interview. I think sometimes people confuse the term nice with kindness. Can you tell us the difference between the two?
Absolutely. For me, niceness is fear-based. So imagine a situation. There's an employee who's very scared of her boss, and she is also afraid to lose her job. So when he is very rude and impolite to her, she's nice. She says, okay, I'm going to do. And that's fear-based. That's very fear-based behavior. You're nice because you're afraid of that person, or you're afraid to lose your job. When you're kind, you have your rude boss, then you will speak up in a kind way, but it comes from inside you. It's not taught behavior. Taught behavior is, yes, kind, and and it's love-based. Kindness is love-based, where niceness is the outside world who pushes you to a certain behavior. That kindness comes from within you, like a more natural behavior, because kindness and love is who you are. But since our birth, we are taught the opposite, because if you're not smart enough, you are not good enough. If you're not rich enough, you're not good enough. If you're not pretty enough, you're not good enough. And we get all of these, you could say, images or type that we have to chase to become worthy, which is, like, it's a lie. And I write about it in my book, like, that's a lie. Nobody is born unworthy. Every little baby, every little child is born worthy, just for being born as a human.
Oh my gosh, that's the best statement of all. No one is born unworthy. I love that.
Even if your parent is a murderer, or your parent is like, whatever, as a child, you are born worthy.
Yeah.
So most of us never get that message.
I think I can certainly understand that, because if you are given a lot of negative messages, or sometimes even those messages can come in the form of, let's say somebody was bullying you, or um, almost like a mental type of
I think
abuse.
even well-meant parents, you come home
Mm,
with a B, oh, you should have had an A.
hey.
Oh, and the neighbor's kid is smarter than, or
Mhm.
oh, she won that prize. No, don't start comparing your kids. We suffered already enough, I think, in that whole comparison game.
Right?
just just like leave your kids for who they are, and of course they have to strive for excellence, and I'm all about like being a better person, your potential, absolutely, but it has to come from within, their talents within. It's not because you want to boast to your neighbor about your kids or about your whatever.
No, absolutely. And it's interesting. You talked about comparison. And in this day and age with social media,
Mm-hmm.
so many people compare themselves to what they see, which can be a
Mm-hmm.
facade on social media. Because what you see on social
Absolutely.
media in many cases, is people with filters and special lighting or whatever it
Oh
can
yes,
be,
oh yes,
or
and
saying
only
things maybe aren't even true.
yes, absolutely. And I think I have no more notifications on my phone, only the phone and text messages. So my kids
Mhm.
know, or my husband, if they really want to. Um, and although I create a lot of content for social media, I rarely spend time myself on social
Mhm.
media because I have discovered like a few years back that it didn't add anything to my life. It didn't make me happier. At the
It's almost like
contrary,
watching the news. I feel it's almost has the
yes,
same
I think
effect
it's
of
even
watching.
worse because what I would do and what I would then go, oh, and I would see that person, oh, they have so many followers. Oh, they have a post that has 1,000 likes. Oh my God, I never had that. How come? So that's your mind running away with you. And to not have that, like then you have to get back, detach, stay
Mhm.
calm. And I'm like, okay, not playing that game anymore. So I read a book, I listen a podcast, and I spend creating content I love. You know that I love
Mhm.
to make an impact, to bring a message, to bring a positive message, a message of kindness, and watch people commenting. But really scrolling, no.
Mm. Plus, it takes up so much time. I mean, if
Yes.
you spend all your time, I, I mean, you could spend hours just
Mm-hmm.
scrolling through social media versus working on yourself or making the world a better
Yes,
place,
yes.
right?
It's the difference between consuming and creating. So
Mhm.
you're consuming all of the time, but we are born creating beings. We are born to create. We're not born to consume. Of course, like all big corporations and even Facebook and Instagram and like all the big companies wants us to be consuming beings. We're not. Consuming does not make us happy.
It
Creating
doesn't.
does.
It really doesn't. It doesn't. Well, you talked about creating. So I
Mhm.
want to talk about your new book that is coming
Okay.
out soon. And
Mm-hmm.
I was very blessed to be able to read a few of the chapters beforehand. And I have to say, it's a book that everyone should get. It
Mm-hmm.
will, if nothing else, it is thought provoking and it will make you feel better after you read it. So let's talk about the book. Like, first off, where did this book come from?
Well, it came. I wrote another book before in a different stage in my life where I was more struggling, like going through my own journey and wounds. And when I read that, I was like, no, that's too much. Um, how would you say? I didn't think it was relevant anymore for the people reading it. So I really wanted to bring a more positive, like not a positive message, but mostly the energy and the intention that I put in every word was to, like you said, make people rethink, question what we have been taught, but also make them feel worthy about themselves. If there's two intentions in the book. First one is that when you finish the book, you know that kindness is not weakness, that only very powerful people who have a certain dose of maturity and balance, they stay kind and they choose kindness in difficult situations. Because being kind to, well, an elderly man in the bus standing up, well, that's more than niceness because we're taught to do that. But the kindness is a very powerful attitude. So that, and then knowing that when you finish the book, that you have that deep feeling of deservingness. You deserve to be happy. You are worthy. You are loved. And then the end of the book, there's a part 2 in the book where I invite people to make kindness-based choices, you could say, for a better future for humanity. Where in the beginning, I take people on a journey, you know, part of my own story, part of other people who showed extreme, you know, like powerful kindness. I take them by the hand, you could say almost a healing journey. And then in the second part, I invite people to choose collaboration over competition, to choose reverence for life over domination, to choose nurturing over exhaustion, and to choose humility over hubris, which is mainly arrogance. So to deeply understand that those 80 or 100 years that we are here in this planet, that if we can manage to leave the world a better place than we found it, because we come here without anything and we die without anything. So all those years, what we would accumulate in material possessions is really, you know, like, okay, it's okay. And I love a beautiful car and a beautiful house, but I do not need 3 beautiful houses. I do not need 5 cars. I do not need, you know, and knowing that it is our essence which counts. It's not the outside. So when people feel like in making those choices, we more like a stewardship. We are, how would you say that? We are keepers of the planet. We are gardeners. And shift that attitude in exploiting and taking and that greed and it's mine and I'm fighting because that's mine and I need my gun to defend what it's mine, you know, like to really shift that.
So
And
you're trying to restore a balance then. So how do you do
yes,
that?
well, I mostly work on myself and trying to lead by example. And that's what, and keep bringing the message every day again. So I do not believe in really preaching or in really advising people. It's giving them a sense, you know, just by me talking, it's what I vibrate, the energy that I'm vibrating, that they, you know, people who are sensitive, they could become aware of it. So I know what you said in the beginning. I know that. I know I have that effect on people. It's not something that I take myself serious for. It's just me being, you could say, more an instrument. I open myself to, you know, like to be of service. It's not about Barbara Vercruysse at all. It's about me becoming even, you could say, more blossoming, because I'm not thinking about Barbara. I'm just, you know, trying to be a beneficial presence wherever I am. And when I become too tired, overworked, I forget about that. And I know that's, for me, that's a trap. It's, I'm a hard worker. I have that achiever entrepreneur side and I work a lot. But when I feel that I start, you could say, in my head blaming my husband for not picking up his socks, getting home, and like the table is still full of glasses and cups, and I feel I start to have that default pattern. I have learned to say, stop, Barbara. You have to slow down and relax now. You're not
So
taking care.
is there, because it sounds like you're a master about recentering yourself, because we all go
Mhm.
through that. Exactly what you said. Your husband doesn't pick up his socks, or the house is a mess, or something, or maybe something at work, or some one of your customers.
Mhm.
Are there any simple steps that you can teach the people that are listening to how to make that stop and
Mhm.
almost recenter? Is it something that you think, or is it, what is it
Yes,
that you
become
do?
aware. It's more about awareness, and I think it depends on what stage of, you could say, evolution. If you're still very much, you could say, if thought patterns run you still,
Mhm.
and you are not so much aware, what I would teach people in the beginning is, at the end of the day, write down your predominant thoughts. Were they predominantly positive or predominantly negative? And in writing, in having that exercise in the beginning, in writing that, you become aware of your thoughts. You become aware of how you talk to yourself. You become aware of that whole narrative in your head. That's the first awareness, and that's a training. So in having that exercise in the beginning, in doing that, if you do that long enough, at the end, you don't have to write it down anymore, because you do it automatically, like mentally.
It almost becomes a habit then.
Yes, it's
So
a
you can
habit.
have a
It's
habit
creating,
of
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 becoming
being,
aware. Yes,
of
becoming
becoming aware.
aware of your thoughts. And for me, I have, like, I have some mantras when I feel like I'm very much going into ego and wanting to be right, and wanting, being my little Barbara self who is upset. And
Oh, I want to know what that is, because I have a tendency to want to be right. So tell me, help me, Barbara.
so what I say then in my head, I look at the person, I say, I see you in your beauty. I see you in your right to be.
Interesting. So when you say, I see you in your beauty, are you talking about yourself, or are you talking about
No, the person
the
before
other
me,
person,
because
right?
in that moment I have difficulty to see them as a beautiful soul, because we are all souls interacting. It's just that our personality structure gets in the way. So if we operate from personality structure to personality structure, it's very often, like, strive and fight. But when I say, I see you in your beauty, I see you in your right to be, I connect with my soul. And it's simple phrases.
I love that. I'm going to be using that probably later today.
I need that daily. I need that daily. Absolutely.
It's almost like a
Every day.
daily dose.
Yes.
That would be, not to go off in a tangent, that would be fantastic if we could get that from you every day. Give us some sort of mantra of the day and just
Yes.
say, today, say, I see you in your beauty. I see
Beauty. I see
you,
you
is it in your
well,
right?
I think on Instagram, I have once a week, I have these affirmation videos. I think it's my team who posts them, but I think it's mostly on Saturday they post an affirmation. I have done those because some people ask me about it. I want those affirmations. So there are videos on Instagram where you can see them.
Because I think just saying that, it breaks your pattern. It
Hmm.
breaks, because you have a choice in life, right? You can go
Hmm.
down this negative path and always look at the things that are wrong in this world and what shouldn't be, or you can look at the other way. You can look at the beauty and
Absolutely. And I
happiness.
think the negative way and seeing the negative, that's really your mind running your life and you not mastering your mind,
Mhm.
because we are living from we have forgot that our mind is a servant. I don't know, somebody very intelligent said that. Wasn't it Einstein um, that creativity and imagination should be the master, and the
Mm,
mind is the servant, because the mind labels, like the mind is logical, brings everything in patterns, and which is okay. We need our mind to live. But if we let our mind master, it's always afraid, it's always drama, it's always blowing up things, because our mind, that's what it's made for, to think and to see danger and to make sure that we are okay.
right.
But if we let it run us, then all we do is being afraid and run around like, oh my God, some disaster is going to happen.
And that's not good for anybody. I mean, it's not even
No,
good for yourself because
no,
that will age you, it will stress you, it will,
yes,
I mean,
yes,
there's all those studies about how stress and thoughts can lead to
absolutely,
disease and everything else.
absolutely, they do. I think, like, I cannot say a percentage if it's 80, 85, 90%, but most diseases started in our mind.
Hmm. So it's interesting that you said that because people worry about potential things happening.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an interesting thought, right? If you start
Yes.
thinking about all those things that could happen,
Mm-hmm.
you're almost perpetuating it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You are perpetuating it. And especially you give some kind of, you could say, sign to the universe that you're not worthy of happiness, that you're not deserving of having all the abundance that life can give, and not abundance in having 5 Rolls Royces, the abundance of making like a walk outside when autumn leaves start to fall, the abundance of bringing a visit to your elderly mother who is happy to see you. That's like the abundance which starts within you, the abundance of, just if you like watercolor painting, you give yourself the time to do some painting. Like one of my most therapeutic things is to write my diaries. My sister asked me yesterday, so who is really your best friend? Because we were talking about friends, and I said to her, I have to say my diaries most of the time,
Interesting.
because I can write everything down where, like without judgment, everything goes out. And it's just for me very therapeutic. And I would do automatic writing too. So I would write, Dear God, dear angels, dear Jesus, do you have a message for me today? What is it that I need to learn? And then the words start to come. And that is always so beautiful. I could never write that from my, you could say, logical or thinking mind. It's not Barbara really. It's Barbara connecting with, you could say, her divine
Divine. Yes.
part.
Hmm.
And then it starts writing. And then I read it and I'm like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And I'm grateful. And if you can start your day in that way, and of course, I have many friends and I have many people that I love, but I have come to a point in life that, how odd it might sound, I do not need anyone in my life, because I
Because
know
you're
it's
happy.
here. Yes, it's here. And of course, like yesterday evening, my husband had to stay in a hotel and I was alone. And then we did, like a video call. And of course, I miss him then. And I would be very, very deeply sad if I would lose my husband. But it's not in a way that, like, I need you, I'm desperate, you have to be with me. It's very different. It's harmony. It's like
It's
giving
almost
each
being
other
at peace.
space. Yes,
Being at peace. See,
yes.
you really bring up an interesting point about how you can be happy anytime. Because
Yes.
sometimes people almost put happiness off
Hmm.
for the future
Yes,
because they're
they
so
do.
busy doing something maybe that they don't love, and they can't find the moment of happiness or happiness
Yes.
in that. And they're always like, when I retire, I'll be
Mhm.
happy and I'll be able to travel. I'll be able to do the things that
Yes.
I love. And so they're almost living in the future or waiting for the
Yes.
future to be
To bring
happy.
them, yes, to bring them happiness. And I think that's because people label too much their activities. We label doing the dishes as not pleasant. We label what, like we think that being a manager or a CEO, that's it. And then
Mm,
you are someone. Why? That's man-made. Why is the dishwasher less worthy than a CEO? That's just something that man invented. It's just
right.
activities. The one is doing that, the other one is sitting at his desk. But there's no, like we made up the hierarchy. So if you are ingrained, like, oh my God, I'm still not a manager, I'm still, like doing this, and it's only thoughts that make you unhappy because many people in your situation would be ultra happy. If you take a woman from Uganda in your position, she would be like, I live in a castle, I have food on my plate, I have a
Mhm.
soft bed, I'm in heaven. So it's not the situation that makes you unhappy because people in the exact situation that you are would be extremely happy and you are extremely unhappy. So it's you looking how you look at the situation. Of course, we always have, if you have an abusive partner, if you have violence, of course, leave that. No, you do not. If you are in a very toxic working environment, choose something else. Even if you have to, like in your eyes, downgrade, do it. It's not about putting up with very unhealthy situations, but it's becoming aware. Is it my thought about the situation, or is it the situation? Is my life in danger here? Is my mental health in danger here? If not, then you're making things up.
That is so profound. And it's really almost life changing. I think that in itself, just thinking about your thoughts
Mm-hmm.
can make the difference
Yes.
on how you feel throughout the day
Yes.
and whether you're happy or
Mm-hmm.
unhappy. And I
Mm-hmm.
would think that most people, if they had the choice, would
Mm-hmm.
rather be happy. And
Yes.
even in the same thing, in the same vein, you had the choice to be kind
Mm-hmm.
or to be unkind.
Yes.
What would you choose? Because if you're unkind, it's going to make you feel bad. Like
Yes.
it's going to,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to lower your
Yes.
energy. It's going to dim you. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to feel bad. And like, even for
Mm-hmm.
me, at moments, because I know in my life, there are moments that I have, I'll admit it, have been
Me too.
unkind.
Me too.
It wakes
Me
me
too.
up at night.
Yes.
It bothers me. It's just, it's awful.
You know,
And, and
hate destroys the hater most.
yes, yes.
But unfortunately, mostly the hater or the rude one lacks awareness to see what's happening. It's just working out. The mind is taking over, working out, you could say, unhealed parts. And that person is a victim of his own hate, you could say, but is not aware of it. Um, but we can decide to stay out of that hate, to, like, I would say almost, what I would do in the morning too is to really fill myself with light, and I feel like the negativity will not get to me, it will bounce back. It will bounce back.
It's almost like you have a shield of
Yes,
positivity.
yes, a shield of positivity. That's how you can, a shield of positivity, of kindness. So, but then you have to have had those moments of self-kindness, those moments of recentering, of taking care, even it's a bath, a half an hour alone, or if you just want to hang on the phone with a good friend who knows like that fills your spirit, you need to do that activities that fill yourself with joy. Those are really, and as women, we very much sacrifice those moments.
Right. We do. But we need to take time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I just adore you and I adore speaking with you. And you're such a light. And for all of you that are listening, not watching, try to go to YouTube or someplace where you can actually watch the video, because you will see this wonderful lady really is, she's just guided, I would say, by an inner light. So I have to ask this question. It's my famous question. What
Mm-hmm.
makes you a rule breaker, Barbara?
I think the rule breaker is having made brave choices to like be the light in a dark world, to not have the darkness affect me, or to see the darkness as an invitation to be the light.
I love that. That's
Mm-hmm.
touches my heart, and I hope it touches everybody else's heart out there as well. So where can people find you, Barbara?
I think the easiest way is my website, which is my name in, like Barbara Vercruysse in one word.com.
Okay. We will have all of your links in the show notes. And then, of course, you have this beautiful book, and it's called The Path of Powerful Kindness, correct?
Yes, it is. The Path of
Yes.
Powerful Kindness.
It is a must read for everyone out there. It is, you're going to feel the light. I'm just going to put it out there. If you read this book, you will feel the light. It will make you feel better. And if you can, certainly catch Barbara's, positive messages that she puts out there. And like I said, everything will be in the show notes. And just in summary, really quickly, I just want to bring back to your attention something so powerful that my friend Barbara said, that no one is born unworthy, and that you are born to create. And you need to be truly happy and just blossom. Show everyone your inner light, but only in a way that you can do because of your experiences and your wonderful soul that you have. And remember what I always say, take that and throw it in like a stream where you create a ripple effect so that you too can make, just like Barbara's doing, a big difference in this world. So I really want to thank you, Barbara. I adore you. And
Can I say something to end?
Absolutely. Yes,
I
please.
would like to thank you, Kathy, because every interview is different, and it's always the person who interviews me who is an enabler or a catalyst for what comes out. So I wanted to thank you for being so genuine, so kind, so sensitive and open. It was just great talking to you.
Oh my goodness. You brought a tear to my eye. So if you want to see the tear in my eye, you have to go to YouTube. So thank you. You're such a delight. And for everybody out there, please, pass this particular podcast and this episode out to your friends. Be the light and share Barbara's message of kindness and how powerful kindness can be. And right now in this world, I think that's really what we need. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll catch you again soon.